lot of blowouts this weekend. I felt like Fernando, but those Chargers, they never like to go into blowouts. They like to make it interesting as always.
You know what's funny about that is that Brandon Staley was actually asked about that right now. We just had our press conference with him, and he was asked about it, and he says all these games in the NFL are close. This isn't college football where Georgia's playing UAB or Austin Pay or something like that. I don't know why it's such a surprise that all these games are close. That's just the way the NFL is. And to an extent, I think he has a point. I mean, it really is. It really is close, and we all know how the NFL is. So I'm not surprised by it, but okay, so obviously the whole fourth down thing, it was a discussion again yesterday. Eric Williams and I were getting into it. He's like, "You millennial, you want him to go for it, don't you?" I'm like, "I'm all for it. I don't care." Like, I just think the play calling has been kind of sus, as the kids say today. But
Mid.
okay. So he was conservative. They're 0-2. They are aggressive. They're 2-0. So I don't know if that's correlation, but right now, we asked him right now, or he was asked right now, Brandon Staley, about the tush push, and he said it was he was asked, was it not executed properly, or did the Raiders just do a good job of stopping it? And he said a little bit of both. So yeah, I didn't see much push in the tush when it came. So when that play happened, so I don't know if it was because Herbert was like, they knew he was hurt and they're kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that to him, or if it was just because they were like kind of like standing there not knowing what to do. But if they would have pushed the tush, I'm sure they would have gotten a first down.
Does that mean we're gonna get into it already? Because I do have some thoughts on that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right, first down. Chargers get by the Raiders. Sorry. Yeah, going on. That's a good debate. That you and Eric about should you go for it, should you not, and then we also talked about it with Adam Hill, and funny story. Adam Hill was defending Brandon Staley last week, and he's like, "You got to be a moron to not see what he was thinking." I'm like, I didn't see it, and the reason why I'm not
That's
a
why I
moron.
hang out with Adam.
The reason why is like, yes, the numbers say you go for it. You get the first down, you win the game, you close it out. But you also gotta, I think I'm better than the AI computer. You gotta account for how bad your defense has been. You gotta account for the record. You gotta account for everything that's going on outside of the numbers. And time and time again, the Chargers defense has not came through, but they kind of have the last 2 weeks. It just, the first week, the Vikings week, I'm like, okay, no, do not leave your defense on a short field. You're putting too much pressure. They got to pick Kenneth Murray. This week, it was Asante Samuel Jr. that bailed them out. But you're right. It is the play calling. The play calling has been pretty bad. I don't get it. You pay Justin Herbert $50 million, but you're doing like a sneak or a run to Joshua Kelly. Can we get a little more creative here? And I guess if it happens again a third time, people are probably going to be like, okay, now you're going to get creative. Let's back off. So it's a guessing game overall. But, there's some disconnect here with Kellen Moore's play calling and then a little too much confidence in Brandon Staley's defense. But to their credit, Fernando, Khalil Mack, 6 sacks. They're getting pressure. They're getting takeaways. And that, like I said last week, it goes a long way.
Keenan Allen put the crown after the game on him. So, hey, by the way, what did I tell you before the game or during halftime? He probably thinks that he sees number 4 and he gets PTSD and thinks it's Derek Carr. He actually mentioned it to Melanie Collins after the
Oh,
game.
yeah?
He said something. He's like, he looks kind of like Derek back there. So I think that's why.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know.
I don't know what it is, but out of his 14 sacks as a Charger, 9 of them have come against the Raiders. So
Oh. You know what's wild, Fernando? I had no idea that Khalil Mack had 0 sacks going into the game.
yeah.
He went into the game with 0 sacks. He left the game the league leader in sacks in the NFL. that is wild. 6 sacks in a day.
Dude,
And
he's 4 away from
for
the season.
from matching what he did last year.
No, no, he's 2 away from matching what he
That
did
was late,
last
right?
year, and he's 4 away from getting to 10 sacks, which usually for
Yeah,
pass rushers, everybody's like 10 and above is great.
dude. Like
So
at one point, I wanted him to break the
so did
record.
I. I
And
was waiting for it.
like when the game got close, I'm like, okay, now they're gonna really rush the passer here, maybe get 7. And shout out to Tyler Dragon. I've been sitting next to him at SoFi Stadium. We were really into that game. I'm like, You're not gonna challenge that. You're gonna go for the fourth down, 6 sacks. Like we're like, what is going on in this game? And we looked it up. Okay, Derek Thomas has a record for sacks in a
Yep.
game, 7. He didn't get that, but shout out to the Chargers PR for another note that Derek Thomas and Khalil Mack are the only 2 players in NFL history with 2 games of 5 sacks or more. I'm like, whoa, I guess I did see some history.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, Khalil, that's the thing about it. Everybody keeps on talking about, oh, maybe Khalil's washed. Maybe Khalil just doesn't have it anymore. If you guys go back and watch the 3 games, he does get there. It's just that either the quarterback gets rid of it or somebody beats him to it. But like, it's no accident that Khalil had 6 sacks yesterday. I know the guy's a rookie and he was maybe holding on to the ball too long, but that's just Khalil making good plays. And I still think Khalil has some left in he still has some gas left in that tank, and he's gonna show it. But wow, like
No,
6 sacks is just
without Joey
incredible.
Bosa and
Yeah,
Derwin James, he stepped up.
exactly. And then Thule was that's the thing. Thule does some stuff that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. You know
Yeah,
how
good
NBA
point.
coaches like saying that about certain guys. Well, that's I think what Thule's been for these guys. I
Mm.
think he's opening up because there was one sack where they're both on the same side, and Thule engages with the guard in the left tackle and the right tackle, and then Khalil went around both of them, and he comes straight up. Like I think Aiden's eyes kind of opened up, and he's like, "Crap." And Khalil came up and tackled him. So hey, don't forget the suplex or the spine buster from Asante Samuel Jr. Also, that was an interesting thing. And then obviously the hit out of bounds. But let's get into that one. The hit out of bounds
Well,
from
before you do, I
yeah.
see people are watching. Don't be shy. Get in the comments or give us a takeaway, your opinion, because I'm sure if you're a Chargers fan, you have an opinion about this next topic. Go ahead, Fernando.
Yeah. So obviously Jerry Tillery launches like, and you know what's crazy? We should have been talking about Herbert putting Max
Yeah.
Crosby on skates in a sense, but Jerry Tillery hits Herbert out of bounds. The first indication that my first thought was I'm gonna look at his teammates. Oh wow. Hi from Chile.
Oh,
Hey, how are
really? Hey,
you?
shout out
Yeah, yeah.
Chile.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Just because
Uh
of that, we should have a show in Chile now. That'd be
there you
cool.
go. Yeah, that would be awesome. So obviously he gets hit out of bounds. And then and I looked at Max Crosby. Max Crosby just goes like he was you could tell he was not happy at that. And Max Crosby's a leader on this team. He knows exactly that was a bonehead play. Gilbert, I've been around the NFL now for about, I mean, I don't know, 2014 probably since then. So to see, I've never seen a whole team run up and defend one player the way I did. And I saw some jabs, I saw some cheap shots being thrown in that pile. But I was like, I was really impressed. I was like, wow, okay, everybody. And then after the game, you hear and everybody's like, that's our guy, that's our leader. Like Jerry knows exactly what he did, and you're like, whoa, like okay, like these guys are really I mean, this is Justin Herbert's team, and I know everybody wants to talk about the money. It's not the money. Money doesn't earn you respect. It's your game and what you've done. And Justin Herbert has earned the respect of every single player in that on that team and every single coach, general manager, everything. He's earned the respect of everybody in that building, and that was just impressive to see the way everybody really launched themselves out to go. Everybody ran out there to help Justin Hurt. Anybody in a powder blue jersey ran at Jerry Tiller. It was incredible to see.
Yeah, you got to keep it real. It was a dirty hit, a very late hit there,
Yeah.
and yeah, I get it. The quarterback is running with the ball, and sometimes that happens, but he was clearly out of bounds, and people say, hey, you can't stop when you're going that fast. It was that late you could have. So, but the thing here is like it's a little strange, because from all the the time that I spent with Justin Herbert and Jerry Tiller, you could tell they were friends. There was a friendship there. But you also know Tillery's background, where like he had a couple late hits in training camp, and you don't touch the quarterback. And then you see what Kyle Van Noy said on Twitter about Jared Tillery. I think Tillery and Herbert are friends, but when you put aside the friendship, Tillery does have a style. You could label as dirty. So good to see the teammates defend them, and go ahead and show this tweet from Kyle Van Noy.
So Kyle Van Noy tweets out, Khalil Mack, I guess he likes playing the Raiders after they traded him. Matthew Johnson asked him, do you see Jerry Tillery cheap shot? Kyle Van Noy says, yeah. If you only knew the behind the scenes with Jerry, I'm shocked hands weren't thrown.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, I mean, we all know that there something happened, and that's why Jerry was cut last year. So I mean,
Well,
I guess
that's
Kyle Van
more
Noy.
than just being a little dirty. That's performance too.
No. I completely, yeah. No, I completely understand. What I'm saying is though that there's more to this
Yeah,
than obviously what's been let out. Because remember, all of a sudden Jerry was just he was gone. Like they just cut him, and that was it. So that something crazy must have happened, and obviously Kyle Van Noy knows it. But
yeah,
and you know, Kyle Van Noy is a well respected player around the NFL. He's won rings with the Patriots and everything, so that's huge. If he's saying something like that, so yeah, no, and the players in the Chargers. I know you went to the Raiders locker room. In the Chargers
yeah,
locker room, players weren't like I asked Gerald Everett, I asked Trey Pipkins, I asked a lot of people, and everybody they were just not happy about him. And obviously, when Jerry was brought in last year for the Raiders, they improved. I mean, and I'm not gonna lie, like the Chandler Jones really kind of took off in a sense once Jerry Tillery kind of came in, but I mean now it's like he hasn't kept up that same play as last year. So because I remember when he played against the Chargers, he had 1 or 2 sacks of Herbert, and there was a little weirdness even there in that game. So yeah, I don't know, but just not a good look for him, and you're kind of already teetering of still being in the NFL and not being in the NFL, and yeah, and honestly, Tillery is just a strange cat all around. Like
yeah,
I've only had like 1 or 2 interactions with him, and it was just strange interactions. I'm not gonna go any further than that, but just
yeah.
really strange. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, speaking of strange, I just want to kind of go back to the final minutes of this game, and I'm not trying to be a party pooper. The Chargers are 2-2, but they should have beaten that team by maybe a couple scores, not sweat out a one score game at the end. Like
Completely agree.
it was 24-7, and like there was like this
At halftime.
slow comeback because the Raiders had 3 points in the third quarter. They had 7 in the fourth. Like it didn't feel like a comeback, but suddenly you're looking at the scoreboard like, oh, it's a one score game, and the Raiders are getting the ball back. So it was strange. And then you kind of go back, like McDaniels and Bradley are always like in the headlines for having questionable calls. When they got down there in the goal line setting, you know, Josh Jacobs, they didn't give him the ball, and they put the ball in Aiden O'Connell's hands, and that did not work out, and it helped out Brandon Staley on the defensive side because Sunday Samuel Jr. got the interception.
Super
Nobody
Bowl
worried.
49 part 2.
Yeah. So nobody worries about the fourth down, and I don't know, Fernando, because the replays that I was seeing on Devontae Adams' fourth down conversion at SoFi, I didn't get the full angles. Apparently, I guess the elbow went down,
The
but
elbow went down.
so I
Yeah.
guess
Yeah,
that's where.
your buddy a couple of seats down kept on why isn't he challenging? Why isn't he
Yeah, yeah,
challenging? The elbow was down, dude. Like,
yeah.
damn.
I was fooled by a SoFi Stadium cameras, which I guess may wanted Brandon Staley to
Yeah.
challenge it. But credit to the people upstairs that say, hey, just keep doing what you're
Yeah,
doing.
no.
Don't
No,
waste
it
your
was
time here.
a catch.
So I got that one wrong there. But just to be in that situation where you're having a rookie guy debut who just got sacked 6 times by one player, let him build his confidence, throw to his best player, and then be in a situation where like they could have tied the game, and it didn't work out. McDaniel's taking heat for not giving the ball to Josh Jacobs, the interception, things like that. But why couldn't it be a clean game and just crush this team where they have no firepower? And credit to the Raiders defense, they held it down in the second half, and they usually don't do things like that. So maybe there is something promising on the Raiders side, but it was still an ugly game overall for the Raiders, and a little disappointing for the Chargers not to finish it.
No, there's nothing promising about the Raiders. The Chargers were just that
They
bad.
have Max Crosby. That's about
No,
it.
no, no, no,
With
but no, I
Devontae.
understand that. But I'm saying like there's something wrong with this team in the
Yeah.
sense of why are second half adjustments not like I haven't seen any second half adjustments. Why is it that the offense came out flat in the second half? I understand you don't have Mike. I get it, but that's something that you're gonna have to face now the rest of the season. You're not getting there's no he's not gonna come back unless Mr. Miyagi goes in there and does a little bit of his magic,
Hey,
but he
Palmer stepped up though on that last reception there to close
yeah,
the
on the
game.
50. Yeah, but then he had a couple of drops.
You're right. You're right.
Quentin Johnston had that nice catch, but then after that, he only played in 51% of the snaps. Um, Darius Davis had the most impact of a secondary player. I think Darius Davis had the well, no, actually, no. Josh Palmer still had the second biggest impact, but
But
Darius Davis has performed. I mean, he's had some moments too, but it's like I don't know, and obviously the Raiders had a good game plan against Keenan. They basically doubled him most of the
yeah,
game,
I did.
so they and none of the tight ends. Gerald Everett had 2 catches for like 9 yards. Any news about Parham? Yes. The news is that there is no news. It is a wrist injury, and we'll know more next week when the injury report comes out, which is next Thursday.
What about the
So,
finger? The Herbert finger.
oh, the what?
The Herbert finger. Is he okay?
Oh, yeah, no, that one, they don't expect him to miss any time. They basically, what did they call it? They said it is fractured. The finger is fractured. He's not expected to miss any time. So, and obviously, it helps that they have a bye week. So, that is definitely good. Um, Somebody
Can I
has
get
a
to it?
question for you,
Go ahead,
Gilbert.
Fernando.
No,
Uh,
no, no. No, no, no. Okay, the flesh wound. The flesh wound. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's from Monty Python. It's a movie. It's like a movie thing. Justin, that's what Justin called it because it's a part of a movie. Like the guy gets his arms chopped off. This like dark night. This like night. He gets his arms chopped off, and he's like, "You can't fight." He's like, "It is just a flesh wound," and like. And if you can hear at the beginning, Justin's kind of saying it in a British accent. So
oh,
he's
did
like,
he?
yeah, he's like, "Tis just a scratch,
Look at
just a flesh
that.
wound." So
Showing the personality there.
that's what I'm telling people. Like, you guys don't understand. Like Joey Bosa, Justin Herbert, like there's funny guys. Like they just have different kind of humor than what I think everybody's used to. But he is like, well, yeah, the Chargers, yeah, Chargers social media got it later, but it was just so funny when I started chuckling, and I think Justin kind of turned and looked at me, and I was like, okay, yeah, like he understood that I knew what he was doing.
Anybody get it?
I thought it was, yeah, he's like, obviously it went off the old heads and everything, but I was able to get it. So I thought that was pretty
That's
funny.
not a
But
new movie though, so I'm surprised nobody else got it.
yeah, I know that. I thought that was interesting. But yeah, you had put this one. Hey guys,
Yeah.
is it me or the play calling reverted to a way more conservative approach than we are used to so far? Do you want to take it away?
Yeah, and it's not like a crazy analysis here, but when you were talking about, Mike Williams, I started remembering, well, the Chargers didn't have Derwin James, they didn't have Joey Bosa, no Austin Eckler, and obviously the first game without Mike Williams like fully. And it's gonna be an adjustment. So it kind of, maybe I am being a little harsh and we because you always see this team kind of struggle in one score games that you should close them out. But if maybe it was one of those games like, okay, it's a feel out game, just get the freaking victory, go 2-2, and go into the bye week. So that could be part of it. But yes, when you have Justin Herbert, you want to be more explosive and push the ball down the field. So it was conservative in the second half. When you build a 24-7 lead and you're seeing all the injuries piling up to start players, you're probably thinking, let's get out of here into the bye week with a victory. And they kind of got a little too safe there. So that could be the issue there. But when you think about it, that's a lot of injuries to key players. We'll see how they do after the bye week, and that's why I'm glad you had the report here. But I'm sure they won't give you much before a bye week.
They should trade for Kyle Pitts. Save Kyle Pitts.
Eh,
Uh,
I actually, I actually said that the Falcons should not trade Kyle Pitts because that guy's a talented dude. They're
he
just
is.
they're not using him right. But if he's available, you're right. Go and get him.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. But it would just be interesting to see what a tight end like that would do.
Imagine.
Um, how many times do you ask your defense to get stops? Yeah, this is something I don't know if you guys have heard. Oh my God, somebody said yes, send Pitts.
That'd be
This
nice.
one.
All right.
So okay, this is something that I've heard in the past that I've heard some Cowboy fans complain about. There was a guy on the Dan Patrick show. His name is Shane Irving. He used to complain that Kellen Moore in like towards the end of the game, like some of the play calling was just kind of weird and he didn't understand why he was going like that. He was more obviously he would use stronger words than I have chosen, But I mean, I don't know what it is either. It just seems like towards the end of games, the game plan they kind of go away from it. I mean, last week you guys saw like they were doing some good things against Minnesota, and suddenly they kind of hit the wall at the end. And you're kind of like, whoa, like where's all the creativity? In Tennessee, the same thing. They were very creative in the first three quarters, and towards the end of the game, it's like, well, where's the creativity here? And like on the final two drives, no creativity. Same thing against the Dolphins, no creativity towards the end of the game. So I don't know if it's maybe a pattern that we're seeing or it's just the same thing, but they need to get more creative and they need to pull some of these plays out. Like the Keenan Allen throw, that was really creative. That was great that they used it, but you need to do more creative stuff like that, and not gadget plays, but just be more creative with the way you scheme to get guys open in a sense.
How about that last third down conversion? That was aggressive from way back in near their own end zone on a third down conversion,
Oh yeah,
and
no. I
they
completely.
launched it to Joshua Palmer. So I get it, but people are frustrated. You should do more than that. But for that instance, that was a nice example. But yeah, you got to do more. And it's still kind of like I'm not trying to make excuses, but it's still what 4 games to the Kellen Moore
Yeah,
era. We're trying to figure it out. The
and
first
you
two
just
games,
lost your second best receiver.
yeah, you're losing a lot. And then the first couple of games, the defense couldn't get it going. So you want to make sure your defense is rested, so you're a little more balanced. So we'll see. But the best thing I think people should focus on. And by the way, there's a good point here by Ricky about the
Yeah.
the Raiders don't have much going, but they have a good special teams, a good punter, a good
Oh,
kicker.
both of them, both of them.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that being pinned back and being a field position game that does affect it when you're trying to rally as well. But it is 4 games. We'll see how they do. But when you have Justin Herbert playing the way he has the last 2 weeks, I think everybody should feel good about that at least.
yeah, no, 100%. Man, Justin Herbert masked a lot of the stuff that obviously kind of this team has. Oh, that was another thing. No, my bad. So Asante Samuel, no, Darius Davis was the one that got spine busted. There was a tackle by Diablo on special teams. He kind of grabbed him and he spine busted him. What did I say? I can't remember what I said Asante Samuel Jr. did, but it was just it was definitely interesting. But yeah, I don't know. They need to get more creative right here. I agree. The offensive play calling is lacking creativity. Wish they would have done more with Darius Davis. I completely agree with that. Yeah, Darius Davis should have been implemented a little bit more, especially because, like we said, there is no Mike, so you're gonna have to get creative with all these players. The only thing is, like, I wonder, and I spoke to Quentin Johnson last week, and he said, "Look, I feel good. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm ready to step up and help this team." The only thing is, like, are you using him in creative ways? Or I know he had that one drop, that back shoulder one that he definitely should have caught, but I mean, I really don't know what it is. I mean, it literally felt yesterday like, yeah, Josh Palmer had the 3 catches, but it kind of felt like there was nothing really there, and that's why Justin kind of had to take off running a lot more. So yeah, I don't know. Moving forward, I mean, and division games are tough, but I agree with you. You're up 24-7. You should have came out in the second half and put this game away. Said you let a rookie quarterback drive up and down the field in the second half
Debut.
and and put a little bit of and kind of, I don't know, and kind of strike some fear in you, but you got kind of nervous and you're like, oh crap, like I don't know. So but definitely, well, let's take a couple more. Asante Slam, like Derwin Slam. Well, I don't know, because that Derwin on Kelsey one, that's like
That was pretty
that
good.
that was that's a big man freaking grabbing another big man and like
Imagine
destroying
if
him out
Derwin
there.
did that now with Travis Kelce with Taylor Swift. Oh man, the Swifties
Oh,
would riot. They'll be
that'd be
mad.
so funny. That would be interesting to see. Let's
Or
see.
I had to get one Taylor Swift reference on this show
Oh,
here.
and I'm sure you're gonna get some more. One more question: will the Cowboys lose by 15 in San Fran? Don't tell that to Gilbert. Gilbert doesn't want to hear none of that. We'll get into that in a little bit
Yeah,
though. But I think getting Jalen might help. It could, but it just also, you guys have to remember, Jalen is, I think at this point, it's already been a year, a complete calendar year since Jalen's played. So you guys have seen kind of what it's taken Josh Jacobs to get back, having no training camp and kind of getting back into it. So I'm sure that's the thing. When you have an injury, you kind of have to work out different muscles or when you have surgery like that, you have to work out different things that you've never worked out before. And I'm sure Jalen's going to be in incredible shape, but to get into football shape is going to take a little bit. But I'm sure him stretching the field, and if he still has that speed, it'll definitely help. But it's going to take some time to integrate him. But you're gonna need other guys to step up. That Monday night game against the Cowboys, even without Trayvon Diggs, it is gonna be a tough game. Like you
That
see
the
the
next game
Cowboys. Yeah, that's your next game.
after
Monday
bye week.
Night Football
That's
against
gonna be tough. Yeah,
after the bye week. They have an extra day though because it's Monday night, so they have some time to get rested up. We'll see. The injury list last week was humongous. Like it was pretty crazy. So
it's
we'll see what
kind of
happens.
like the Packers in the NFC. The Packers have a lot of injuries.
Yeah, they do. And the Chargers and the Packers play each other in about a month. So it'll definitely that's why I said without Diggs, it's gonna be they're still gonna be a tough team to beat, especially with all the way they've been playing. I mean, they picked off I know Mac Jones and Justin Herbert are nowhere near in the same conversation, but they picked off Mac Jones a couple of times yesterday, pissed off Bill Belichick. So that was definitely interesting.